Okay, folks, welcome back to Sailing Shenanigans. Here we have quite the spread. Today we're going to be doing some knot work. Today we are going to be doing the Brian Toss soft shackle, otherwise known as the improved soft shackle. The thing that makes this particularly interesting is that the original soft shackles, while stable-ish, had the tails of the knot coming up through the top of the knot, so they would be hanging out here. And while it did serve as a reasonably decent soft shackle, under extreme loads, the knot was known to be capable of inverting completely and popping your noose off, and you lose the integrity of your soft shackle and whatever it may or may not have been attached to. Downside. Brian Toss figured out how to run the crown knot with the tails running back down through the interior of the knot, thereby stabilizing several factors. Number one, the noose would compress, as you can see here on this used in-service shackle, how it compresses the fibers of all four strands. You have the two legs, and then you have the two working tails. So you actually have four lengths of your medium coming through, and then being choked by the noose, preventing a number of things. Number one, of course, hopefully you made the noose small enough so it cannot, in fact, come up off of the knot. Second, under pressure, the knot would not unravel, or be far less prone to unravel, because once these legs come down through the bottom of the knot, they then get threaded into the legs of the actual shackle. So they disappear and are buried into these two legs. So what you effectively have are four widths of your operating line, which is actually 1/4 inch this size, going through this hole. And what that does is, as the shackle tightens and tightens and tightens, the noose tightens and creates more friction. Not only would you have to be able to unwind the knot manually to have the knot invert, you would also have to allow that unwinding to happen by not having enough, by overcoming the pressure from the noose of those two lines, the end tails coming down through the legs, and then on top of that you would have the Chinese finger trap function of the single braid line work here. There's no core, so as you increase pressure linear along the line, these weaves get tighter and tighter and tighter on anything inside, and you have a situation whereby more or less the knot basically can't fail, the knot basically can't unravel, and the lowest point in the line then becomes really the line itself. And abrasion, age, UV exposure, a number of other factors all come into play. But by and large, this soft shackle is tested to failure at approximately 2.1 to 2.2 times the breaking strength of the original single strand of that line material. I used Dyneema, and you can use Dyneema, Spectra, any 12 or 16 plate single braid line will work with this knot and create a soft shackle. So we're going to break this down into a number of factors. Number one, line size. As you can see here, I have a number of different selections. This here was made out of 1/4 inch line. The red is 3/8 inch line, and the other black was made of 1/2 inch Dyneema. And as you can see, they are not linear in their size expansion. As they go larger, they actually get quite a bit thicker. The 1/4 inch line is good for a couple of thousand pounds. The 3/8 inch line is good for several thousand pounds. The 1/2-inch monster here is actually good for several tens of thousands of pounds. And while I don't certainly use this one, it's far too short, I do have 2 of these monsters attaching our anchor bridle to the bows of our catamaran. One of these shackles is more than capable of lifting the entire boat by itself with strength to spare. So I know that the connection between boat and thimble on the bridle will not, in fact, be the weak point of our ground tackle. So I'm going to do this 2 ways. Number 1, I'm going to break this down to actually simply creating the knot. And as you can see on all of these, there's a very similar situation. You have 4 lines going down into the knot, and you also have pairs of lines coming around the outside of the knot. And these are the 2 factors that allow you to know that you've created the knot correctly. You can see on the bottom there's a noose, 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 and at the end we've already discussed that you bury the tails into the legs. And that is all well and good, but unless you can get the knot correct, you don't have a soft shackle. So what we're going to do is, in this video, we're going to make the knot. And to do that, we're simply going to use standard 3/8" line, because you need to learn how to do the knot. If you don't know the knot, you don't know the shackle. You learn the knot, you do the knot a couple dozen, 3, 4, 5 dozen times. You can do a blindfolded back behind your back and do it in your sleep. Now you know how to make the knot. Then you make the soft shackle itself. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a 5-foot piece of line. We're going to bend it in half. We're going to take approximately 7 to 8 inches of that line, and we're going to grab it with our fist. And we're going to make a fist. We're going to bring this back. I have extremely large hands, so I have 1 fist, 1 length. Doesn't matter how much, you can do it all the way back down to here, as long as you have an entire length of your hand holding the line plus a tail. Okay? So here we go. You have a line in your hand. You have the 2 working tails, one going forward, one going aft. This entire knot is symmetrical and directional. And what that means is, for everything you do on one side, you do the exact same on the other. For every maneuver you use, in this case, I am right-hand dominant, you go from right to left and around the assembly like this. Alternatively, of course, if you were left-handed, you begin this way and you will go around the assembly in the exact reverse direction. Everything is translatable, reversible, and mirrorable. So you really should not have a problem doing this knot at all. And I will in fact do a left-handed version, because I, probably like you, have searched the internet for an effective way to create this knot. I've gotten videos that have shown it from over there looking at me. I've gotten from looking over here, looking at the knot, looking over here, looking at it, but nothing ever from the perspective and doing it as though it were my own hand. So here we go. This knot is broken down into 3 stages. Here is stage number 1. You begin with the lead leg closest to you. You go underneath the forward leg. You bring that whole assembly up onto your hand, and you bring that leg across the middle, and you make 3/4 of a pretzel. It doesn't get a whole lot easier than that. Okay, you can extend your fingers a little bit to kind of keep things balanced and supported. So here we go. We started with that leg and we went from right to left. Now we go to this leg away from us and we bring it back right to left. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this tail and come up through this hole immediately near you, but in front of this leg, and you come across and you bring it. You don't make it tight. You just kind of snug it up a bit so all this kind of meets up here. So now you have two tails going to the right. Now you keep that same tail and you make a single turn around the other tail that came out to the right, and what you have are two loops and a crossover. Here you can snug those up a little bit, so you just pull them in. You don't make it tight, you just kind of snug them up so they're a very happy little knot here. And what you do is you try to keep this crossover right above these two lines. If you open them up, you see these two lines right in the middle of your hand there. Those are the two lines that are feeding up from the legs. So now instead of fore and aft, you have port and starboard. So now you start with the starboard or right side leg, and you see this hole. You're looking straight down this hole, and on the other side, if you mirror it, you see another hole coming straight down here. So you come behind this leg and you come behind this leg. In order to do that, you come around from right to left, up through the hole. This is the step 2. You then take the port side, you come underneath this leg, and you go up through that hole and underneath that same leg that came around here first. And you bring it in just a little snug. Okay, so now again, you have a fore and an aft leg instead of a port and starboard leg. So now that's step 2. That's it. There's only one more step to this knot. That step is to put your finger in this little crossover, and now you can see right down the middle you have these two legs that are coming up through your hand. You begin with the fore line. You come over from right to left, and you put it down the left side of those two lines. You keep everything together, not overly tight, but now you have 3 lines making a little triangle. And the same thing now, you go from left to right on that last line end. You come down through your hand, and what you now have are 4 pieces of line coming out through your hand. And what your goal is as you're looking at it, you can see right here, okay, the left back should be part of the loop, the leg. The back right should be a tail. Okay, they do not need to be the same length. Do not be concerned about that at all. Now you look at this and it's a little symmetrical, kind of jacked up, and you kind of go, well, how in the heck do I dress this thing? Here's how you do it. You take your finger and you lean this whole knot forward. And what you can see is you can see this forward left leg coming up through my hand, and it comes up and it does this loop here. So what you do is you take this loop and you do a 4-step process. You come around and you go 1, you start tightening it up, and you can take your finger and you can block it up there to keep this line from coming back through. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you have severely disparate legs. Okay, but you still have a leg on the back right and a tail on the back right and a leg on the back left. So now you take this assembly, you hold it by all 4, you turn it 180 degrees. So now on the other side you have leg on the back left, tail on the back right. If you lift up, you can see that this line comes up and does this hard loop here. So you come down, you pull it down through, use your thumb, and you go 1, pull up, 2, you see it come down, 3, up, 4, and down. Okay, you turn it again, you can still see the leg comes up, does this hard loop to the right, so we come through, and now it's getting smaller, tighter, and harder. So you pull 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what you can do after 2 sets of that is you can take your entire assembly, all 4 lines, and take your hand and start pulling up on the base of the knot. And what that does is it gives you a check and balance. Okay? What you're looking for is you are always looking for 2 lines coming across. And what it is you want 2 lines parallel, 2 lines tuck, 2 lines parallel, 2 lines tuck. You can look at the top and you can see here that one side's a little loose, one side's a little taller. So what you do is you start, doesn't matter what leg you start with or what line you start with, you hold the crown and you pull just a little bit, rotate, pull, rotate, pull, rotate, pull, rotate, pull, rotate, pull. Okay, you do that 8, so you do 2 times on each leg. Then you give it a roll. And what this does is it allows the lines inside to kind of stabilize. You give them a good yank. You give them a little pull, and you can see that it's starting to come together. And we've got a little high and a little low. So what we're going to do is this side is high. You can see here with this tail, give it a little pull and it sucks down. It's nice and flat. So what you're looking for here is a good symmetrical 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the crown knot. That is 3 steps. When you learn this, it will take you less than 45 seconds to do this knot. Learn it, live it, love it. I will take it apart and do it again. In order to take it apart, you see one balanced difference on this knot. Okay, right here you can actually see between these 2 lines here. You see the line come around. On the other side you can see the same thing. You see the line come around. Up here you see 2 lines that are apart and 2 lines that are together. These 2 lines are together are the tails that come through. These are these tails. So if you want to take this knot apart, you'll wiggle it a little bit. You pull it up. You'll wiggle it a little bit. You pull it up. And then you just disassemble the knot. You just follow the legs and you simply work it backwards. And this is also going to be very helpful for you because it allows you to not only see the knot going forward, but it also shows you and you can understand how the knot works backward. So, we even out our line. And grab our line, 1 tail forward, 1 tail backward. Okay? We're going to do this. Now, I will do a full left-handed video later. Start with the aft, come around underneath. Come up on top of your fist, you make your pretzel, your almost pretzel. Reach forward, come through the hole nearest you. You make a single turn on that same line that goes across the middle, making that 3/4 pretzel. Now you have 2 lines going left and right. You come through this hole with this one. You are going right to left. Come through, up, you come behind, and up. You want 1, 2, right? There you go. Now, you put your finger through the little crossover. You can see those 2 lines coming through your hand, 1 forward and 1 back. You have 1 tail forward, 1 tail back. Tail from the right to the left. Tail from the left to the right. and down through your assembly. So now you have the basis of the knot. To dress it, you see this loop coming up from the leg. You come out and around, and you pull up. Come down. That's 2, 3, and 4. You turn 180 degrees. You see the same loop coming around. 1, 2. Now it comes back around through here. 3 up. 4 down. You turn again. Now you see the leg and the tail. The leg goes to the loop. The tail is your working end. So you're looking for the leg to be on the left side, and you see the loop here. So you start compressing, you start pushing, you start helping it out. 1, 2, you follow it around. 3, 4, and you turn it one more time, 180 degrees, and you now see the loop from the leg. Here's your tail. You come around. 1, 2, 3, and 4. From there, you pull down on all 4 legs and tails. You pull up on the base of the knot, and you are looking to see 2, 2, 2, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how you know the knot is correct. Now, how do you know which tail and which leg? Well, it's very simple. You have the tail on the right side of the leg facing you, okay? And you have this one loop coming right over the top, okay? That is this tail. But from here you can see this loop is lower than the back loop, so you want to actually tighten up the back loop. So you rotate it 180 degrees, you reset it, you have your leg and your tail, and now you already know that this is this tail. So you put your hand underneath the knot, you pull the tail, and you see it tighten down. From here, you pull each leg and each tail just a bit to snug them up. Just a bit to snug them up. And you consider compressing your knot. Now, this is not how you completely dress the knot. We will encounter that in the next set of videos. But this is what you must learn in order to do a soft shackle correctly and competently. You fail to do this knot, you fail to have a secure shackle. So, as always, please comment, subscribe, and share. We would love to get this out. Hopefully this step, these stages have simplified this knot to the point where it's 1, 2, 3 steps simple, not one big crazy knot that looks all sorts of impossible. It took me a long time to figure out how to do this, and hopefully this will help you achieve the soft shackle crown knot created or modified to be created by Brian Toss. And thanks to him we get this, and hopefully thanks to me it makes it simple for you. Good tying, and we'll see you on the next video to finish this soft shackle out.